What's up, Miniatures Paintbrush Legion? This is Rob, your host, and welcome to Hobby Tips. So, has this ever happened to you? You get a new miniature, you prime it up, all the mold lines are gone, you're all happy and excited to get started painting. You start painting, the paint job is becoming incredible, you love your blends and all kinds of things are happening within that model, and then you realize that you just smushed off some of the paint from the model itself. Well, that happens sometimes when you're holding the model. And why this happens is because there's oil in your hands that get released onto the model. Also, your fingerprints cause friction. And that friction also rubs off some of that paint. So you have those two things working against you when you're trying to paint a miniature. One of the techniques is to be able to use some kind of handle so we don't have to touch our miniatures. Now, I commonly use reused medicine bottles. Like, these are pill bottles that I've had, and as I'm getting older, I'm collecting more and more. Now, with the medicine bottles, what I usually do is put a little bit of blue tack, aka poster tack, on the bottom of it, put the miniature on top, and it actually accommodates a lot of different sizes. And one of the things that I do like about this method is that it does not affect the rims of the bases. Like, I like to paint the rims of my bases, and then I don't want any of that paint chipped off. So that's part of the miniature that I don't want to be touched. And it is an excellent and very inexpensive way to be able to do this. Sometimes we have something small like the heads of miniatures that we want to subassemble. So what do we do with those? Well, what I do is I take a whole bunch of corks from wine bottles. Now, that might mean you'd have to buy a lot of wine. Or you can know someone who actually owns a winery and they could just give you a whole bunch of them. And I would like to thank Red Heifer Winery, who actually contributed to the miniatures paintbrush. Now, with those corks, what you do is you get some nailers and you just poke them in through the top, and that'll actually form a nice little platform for you to put very, very small little bits that you have more control over. In some cases, I put just one nail in them, and in other cases, I put several nails into the cork. Now, on the base of the cork itself, I did take some corrugated cardboard and I hot glued it to the bottom to actually stabilize it so I can put it down. Again, an excellent way to paint very, very small details in there. Now, of course, I go over to that poster tack and I squeeze the top of one of those nailers and I twirl it around so this way it has a nice sticky surface for me to put the miniatures in. Another different technique you can use, again with the pill bottles or any kind of dowel that you have or anything that you would like to hold your miniature with, but you put on some double-sided tape. And the double-sided tape is really good to hold things, and you can use it a couple of times, and it's pretty versatile. It's not really going to leave anything behind when you pull them off, and it's pretty secure. So that's definitely a way that you may want to think about when painting the paint handles. Now, bigger companies have actually made paint handles for you to use, one being Citadel, which is what I bought the second it came out, and I was really excited to get painted. Now, it works pretty simply where it has a spring-loaded mechanism where you pull apart the two holders and you get actually spring loads back in, and with that tension, it holds on to the base of the miniature, and it's great to paint the model. And if you do want to paint the base later on, then you would have to take it off that, holder, because the holder itself is actually pressing up against your bases. And I do, like I said before, like to paint the rims of my bases, and that would totally mess that up. Another solution is this company called A Case, which sent me these lovely handles But this is a paint handle that's interesting. But this paint handle is a little interesting because it's magnetic. It has a cork top as well, and you can actually put things in. You can remove the cork top. There's a metal piece, and it's all using a magnetized system. So if you do magnetize your models, which if you're transporting models, magnetization for your bases is kind of the way to go. It's only natural for you to just put that and include that in your workflow when you're painting your models, and do it preemptively when you're preparing your base. And then you just pop it onto one of these multitude of holders that came with this. And it needs to have a little larger holder as well. Now, the one thing that I do advise is you get some strong rare earth magnets. All right. Very strong magnets in order for you to do this. And it's something that you're going to want to do, especially if you're going to transport your miniatures to conventions and things like that. So get very strong magnets if you're using this system. I will put a link down in the description below if you're interested in getting this particular paint handle. So I think with me, I do have some larger models, even larger than the ones that I'm showcasing here. And, I use different other kind of methods with that. So just incorporated within my repertoire. So my hobby vice for you today is stop touching your miniatures while you're painting them. Get yourself a painting handle that works for you. Well, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more content. And may you have an excellent painting day, and may your backlog get ever smaller.